When I first rolled into Pinewood Hollow in my rattling old pickup, the neighborhood seemed like a postcard from a dream I'd never dared to have. The streets stretched wide and clean, flanked by towering oaks that cast dappled shadows over lawns so pristine they could have been painted on. Each house wore a coat of muted, elegant soft grays, creamy beiges, and the occasional sage green wildflower beds burst with color, meticulously arranged as if competing for some unspoken prize. It was the kind of place that promised quiet mornings and friendly waves, a suburban Eden where life slowed to a gentle hum. I'd spent years in cramped apartments with peeling paint and neighbors who shouted through thin walls, so Pinewood Hollow felt like a reward I hadn't earned. But as I hauled boxes from my truck, sweat beading on my forehead under the late August sun, I couldn't shake the feeling that something lurked beneath the polished tension I couldn't yet name. The neighbors greeted me with practiced smiles as I shuffled back and forth, arms full of cardboard and mismatched furniture. "Welcome to the Hollow," a woman called from across the street, her voice bright but her eyes darting, as if sizing me up. I nodded back, grateful for the warmth, though I noticed how their grins stiffened when I lingered too long in conversation. It wasn't until I met Ellen, a wiry woman with silver-streaked hair and a librarian's quiet intensity, that I got my first hint of the truth. She appeared at my side as I wrestled with a crooked bookshelf, her hands quick to steady it. "You're new," she said, her tone soft but edged with something cautious. "Just a heads-up, watch out for the Homeowners Association. They're particular." I chuckled, brushing it off. "I've dealt with HOAs before. How bad can it be?" Ellen's lips pressed into a thin line. "You'll see," she murmured, then retreated to her porch without another word. That first week, I settled into my little two-bedroom ranch, savoring the creak-free floors and the way the morning light spilled through the kitchen window. Pinewood Hollow was everything I'd hoped until the letter arrived. It slid through my mailbox slot on a Thursday, crisp and official, the HOA's logo embossed in gold at the top. "Dear Mr. Daniel Hayes," it began in a font so formal it felt like a reprimand. "Welcome to Pinewood Hollow. Please read VYEW the enclosed community covenant and contact me with any questions regarding compliance. I oversee these matters personally to ensure our neighborhood's harmony. Sincerely, Lorraine Voss, HOA President." Attached was a booklet thicker than a phone directory, detailing rules I'd never imagined could exist. Approved exterior paint shades, 6 variations of neutral, a limit of 1 birdhouse per yard, precise instructions for trash bin placement, tucked behind a lattice screen. Never VY Seibel from the street. There's even a section on acceptable outdoor lighting. No colors, no flickering, 60-watt maximum. It was exhaustive, borderline obsessive, but I shrugged it off as the quirks of a well-kept community. Then I met Lorraine Voss in the flesh. It was a humid Saturday morning, and I was trimming my front hedge when a sleek black sedan rolled to a stop at the curb. Out stepped a woman in her late 50s, her ash blonde bob so sharp it could have cut glass, her navy blazer pressed to military precision. She carried a clipboard and a tape measure, her heels clicking against the pavement as she approached my yard. Without a word, she knelt beside my shrubs, measuring their height with the focus of a surgeon. I stood there, clippers dangling, unsure whether to laugh or protest. Before I could muster a hello, she jotted something on her clipboard, climbed back in her car, and drove off. I stared after her, bewildered, until Ellen's voice floated over from her porch. "That's Lorraine," she said, a wry smile tugging at her mouth. "Always inspecting, always judging." Over the next few weeks, I pieced together Lorraine's reign through whispered conversations with neighbors. Mark, a burly guy with twin girls, told me how she'd once fined him $50 because his daughters left a hopscotch grid chalked on their driveway overnight. She called it VY Sewell clutter, he grumbled, kicking at a pebble. Sarah, a single mom with a dry sense of humor, recounted how Lorraine had ordered her to remove a wind chime from her patio because its excessive tinkling VY OLAT noise guidelines. "She's got ears like a bat," Sarah muttered, rolling her eyes. Yet no one challenged her. "She's been president for 7 years. Mark explained, his voice heavy with defeat. No one else wants the gig, and she's got a knack for making threats stick. Legal fees, finesse will bleed you dry if you push back. I might have stayed on the sidelines, content to keep my head down, if Lorraine hadn't unveiled her strangest scheme yet. It started with a flyer pinned to every door in Pinewood Hollow, its bright yellow paper screaming urgency. Emergency HOA meeting, Thursday, 7 p.m., Clubhouse. Topic: a groundbreaking initiative for community wellness. Attendance mandatory. Wellness? I puzzled over it, picturing yoga classes or a communal garden, something benign. But curiosity gnawed at me, so I joined the crowd that Thursday night, squeezing into the clubhouse alongside 50-odd residents. The air buzzed with speculation as Lorraine strode to the podium, her posture rigid, a stack of papers clutched like a shield. "Good evening," she began, her voice slicing through the murmurs. "I've observed a troubling trend in Pinewood Hollow. Inconsistent sleep patterns. Some of you oversleep, rushing out late, honking horns, slamming doors. It disrupts our peace. To address this, I've secured a partnership with Dreamrise Solutions. Starting next month, every household will purchase their Model Z 9-alarm clock. It's state-of-the-art, with adjustable tones and a wake-up light to ensure you rise promptly at 6:30 a.m. Uniformity breeds discipline." The room went silent, then erupted. "6:30?" someone shouted. "I work nights." Another voice. "Why do we need the same alarm?" Lorraine raised a hand, her smile tight. "It's for the collective good." Dreamrise offered a group discount, due law $95 per unit, a steal for such quality. Compliance is non-negotiable. I exchanged a glance with Ellen, who looked as stunned as I felt. Dulaw 95 wasn't pocket change, and the idea of an HOA dictating my wake-up time was absurd. Murmurs turned to arguments as Lorraine fielded questions with icy calm. "What if I like my phone alarm?" Sarah asked. "Insufficient," Lorraine snapped. "The Z9 guarantees consistency." Mark stood, arms crossed. "And if we refuse?" Lorraine's eyes narrowed. "Non-compliance incurs a due law 200 fine, plus legal action if necessary." The threat hung heavy, and as the meeting ended, people filed out in a daze, torn between outrage and resignation. The neighborhood simmered for days. Mark fumed about the cost. "I've got kids to feed," not Lorraine's ego. Sarah dubbed it the Dawn dictatorship. Even Ellen, usually measured, admitted it was a step too far. "She's never gone this personal before," she said, sipping tea on her porch. "The bylaws give her leeway for community standards, but this? It's unhinged." I dug into the rulebook that night, searching for a loophole. The language was vague, broad powers to enhance livability, but nothing about mandating personal to VYCS. Still, Lorraine's allies on the 5-member board, a trio of yes-men she'd handpicked, made overturning it a long shot. Refusing outright meant fines I couldn't afford, so I hatched a different plan, one born of spite and a flicker of mischief. If Lorraine wanted uniformity, I'd give it to her, but on my terms. When the Z9 Araveda clunky box with a glowing orange display and buttons like a spaceship console, I tested its features. The manual boasted a 130 decibel max volume and a dozen tones, a standard beep, a foghorn, a train whistle, and my favorite, a yodeling goat. It was ridiculous, perfect for what I had in mind. I set it to 6 a.m., not 6:30, with the goat yodel blaring every 5 minutes until 6:30. If she wanted us awake, I'd make sure no one slept through it, especially her. The first morning was chaos. At 6 o'clock, the Z9 erupted, the goat's warbling yodel ricocheting off my walls. I stumbled out of bed, heart pounding, and let it yodel 3 times before hitting snooze. 5 minutes later, it screamed again. By 6:15, my phone lit up with texts. "Mark, dude, what the hell?" "Sarah, is that a goat?" "LOL. Ellen, brilliant. She's gonna lose it." I grinned, picturing Lorraine's face as the sound carried across the street. She lived 2 houses down, well within earshot. By 6:30, I shut it off, but the damage was done. Lights flicked on in neighboring windows, and I heard a distant "shut that thing up" from someone less amused. Lorraine didn't waste time. At 7:45, she was at my door, her blazer swapped for a cardigan, but her glare as sharp as ever. "Mister." "Hey," she said, voice clipped. "Your alarm woke half the block. It's disruptive." I leaned against the frame, feigning innocence. "I'm just following the rule using the Z9, like you said." "It's loud, sure, but isn't that the point? To wake us up." Her jaw tightened. "Set it for 6:30, once like everyone else." "The mandate doesn't specify a time or limit," I countered. "About early errands." She huffed, muttered something about common courtesy, and stormed off. I knew I'd struck a nerve. Word spread fast, and the rebellion grew. The next morning, Sarah joined in, her Z9 blasting the train whistle at 6:10. Mark unleashed the foghorn at 6:20. By day 3, Pinewood Hollow sounded like a deranged orchestra, goats, whistles, horns, and even a cuckoo clock tone from Ellen's house, all overlapping in a glorious cacophony. We dubbed ourselves the Dawn Defiers in a group chat, coordinating times to maximize the chaos. Lorraine fired off emails begging for restraint, but we pointed to the rule's exact wording. All households must use the Dreamrise Z9. No restrictions on volume or frequency. She'd boxed herself in. The neighborhood split into factions. Some cheered us on, relishing the payback. Others, bleary-eyed and furious, demanded we stop. "I get it," one woman posted online, "but I need sleep." Lorraine's loyalists, mostly retirees who worshipped her iron fist, called us delinquents. But even they couldn't deny the rule's absurdity. Then came the bombshell. Jenna, a sharp-eyed accountant who'd kept quiet until now, dug into Dreamrise pricing. She found invoices showing the Z9's wholesale cost was due law 45, not due law 95. Lorraine's group discount was a lie. She was pocketing due law 40 per unit, plus the due law 10 processing fee tacked onto every invoice. Jenna posted her findings on the community board. She's scamming us. This isn't about discipline, it's a cash grab. The revelation lit a fire. At the next HOA meeting, the clubhouse overflowed with furious residents. Lorraine sat stone-faced as Jenna presented her EVY densa screenshots, receipts, even a shell company tied to Lorraine's name. "You forced us to buy overpriced junk for your profit," Jenna said, her voice steady. The crowd roared. "Refund us." "Step down." Lorraine tried to spin at logistical costs, not profit, but no one bought it. Ellen waved a petition, now with 80 signatures, demanding the rule's repeal. A board member, Clara, usually neutral, spoke up. "This is a conflict of interest, Lorraine. We need an audit." The vote was swift, 4-1 to suspend the mandate and investigate. Lorraine's reign crumbled as cheers filled the room. She resigned a month later, after the audit confirmed her profiteering. Refunds trickled out partial, grudging, but the Z9s vanished from our mornings. Pinewood Hollow healed, freer and friendlier, with new board members like Jenna steering us toward fairness. One evening, as I chatted with Ellen over coffee, she laughed. "We fought a war with yodeling goats and won." I smiled, glancing at the quiet street. Sometimes a little chaos was the price of freedom. If you were the one in this story, how would you react? Would you stand up and fight back, or accept the unreasonable pressure and control from the HOA? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this VY Deo with more people. Your small action gives us the motivation to keep bringing you more intense and engaging stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next VY Deo.